My name is Adam Cook, and I'm rather a fan of SuperGiant Games. Joining me to talk about their latest game is Chris White. How are you?
I am pretty bloody good, Adam.
Good, good. Now, we've both... I mean, you're reviewing this. The game in question is Pyre.
Yes.
I've played it on PC. You're playing it on PS4. By the time people are hearing us discuss this game, your review will be up. And I'm going to start by saying it's a very different kind of game, but I'm going to ask you to give us your thoughts on what it is and what do you think of it.
Okay, so it's an amalgamation of many different kind of styles. And if you've played, a SuperGiant game before, so like Bastion, Transistor, you'll know that there's a basis on RPG elements, and it's very stylized, that kind of thing. With Pyre, it's very different to what I expect, because I try my best not to spend too much time watching the trailers, looking at what these kind of games are about, because I think SuperGiant.
I'm not sure it would have helped you anyway.
Well,
to be
no,
completely honest with you, because I went in playing it having a vague idea that it was a story-based game, but I was. Look, carry on.
Yes,
Sorry,
that's fine, mate. So the basis is you are this character called the Reader, and you stumble across a group of these exiles, and where they're exiled from, I'll let you play the game. But they're basically in this kind of realm where they have to fight for their freedom in these things called rights. And the rights are basically a game, it's hard. It's kind of incorporates sports in a weird way, because it's like Speedball.
I'm glad you said that.
It's like,
I thought I was going nuts.
No, it reminds me of like Speedball on the Mega Drive. So you've basically got a Pyre, and the Pyre is like this fire with like you protect, and on the other side the opposition's got this Pyre, and it's like two goals essentially, and you have to carry this celestial orb from one end to the other. You can pass it to your teammates, you can throw it into the opposition's Pyre, you can
jump into the fire.
Yeah, jump. You've all got different abilities, and this is where the RPG elements come in, because as you progress through the story and the game, you earn XP like most games, where you can level up two kind of branches, two kind of skill branches, which they're not a lot, but then it's not a huge.
They're quite.
game.
I agonised over some of them though. Early on, I agonised over some of those choices.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's real like kind of diversity in the gameplay and the characters, because you've got kind of a character who's quite big and she's slow, but she's powerful, and the stats, there's 4 stats, and they kind of differ from how fast you go, the amount of damage you can do to the opposition's Pyre, the kind of the girth of your aura.
Yeah, there's no other way of putting it.
No,
really.
and
I mean, you could have said size, I suppose, but it's fine.
Yeah, but and then the effect of how long you can be banished from a game. So if you get kind of struck by the opposition, you'll disappear for a little bit. But
it's almost like a board game in the way the rules work. Like, when you score with character A is banished from the kind of next run of play for a little while. But again, with certain items, you can reduce the banishment length.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like, so your aura, if someone runs into it, they'll die if yours is bigger than theirs. But if you've got the ball, you don't have an aura, so you're kind of vulnerable. And it's like, it's almost like a board game. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what?
It's so strange.
I love it so much because it reminds me of the Banner Saga. And in terms of the board game elements, definitely. But then if we talk about like the story and the bits in between these rights, it's just typical SuperGiant. It's so well.
It's kind of a choose your own adventure
written.
as well, like that.
Yeah, it is.
The early start before you actually get deep into the combat, I was a little concerned because I played and reviewed a game. I can't remember the name of it now actually, but it was a game similar to sort of Sunless Sea.
Yes.
But it wasn't quite as good. And I was a bit concerned at where's the gameplay coming into this. I'm totally fine with a story-heavy game. And all of a sudden, I don't know if you experienced the same, I found a moment in the combat where it clicked and you're like, oh, this is very good. Like, this is...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, first, it's a lot to take in, but then there is that moment where you just suddenly go, oh, this is...
Yeah.
They're kind of the masters of doing something, not so much unexpected, but different. Like, it's different, man.
And it's... not every game's the same. You know, there's a lot of kind of variables on the. I don't know, not pitches, but the
there are. No, there are. I think I suppose there are. To be fair, they do change them up, don't they?
Yeah, there's like things
more in the way of obstacles, I suppose.
Things that you can hide behind where they can't get to you, or there's things you can knock into them. Then it'll change things up, like it'll maybe cut away 2 of your players and 2 of theirs, where you have to go one-on-one with another character. So in terms of the actual rights, they do mix up, and there are some variables.
A lot of that comes from the characters you're using, because it's a 3v3 generally, isn't it? And very quickly you've got more than 3 characters to choose from, and of course it's similar to RPGs, I think, in that, you know, obviously you don't have to use, say, the big heavy character because they're slow, and I like to play fast, I'll be honest. But that means I find that when you get your first sort of jumping dive with what was her name? It begins with J.
Jadariel.
Yeah. When you get it with her, and you get like 30 points instead of the 20 you've been getting with the little dog creature.
Yeah.
But also, like, leveling up, they level up more if you use them. Whereas if you don't pick them for a right, you will get some XP, but not as much. So it is. I don't know. There's just so much going on in this game, mate.
I think that if you step away from the actual gameplay bits, the story and you were saying earlier about choose your own adventure. There's loads of little kind of bits you can select. You can choose, like, there's a moment where you get to choose the name of a character. You know that you become friends with this guy who's called Tariq, who's like he plays the lute, and when you're traveling across this kind of massive area, this world. You end up talking to him, and you can ask him to play a song, and you get to choose which one of the songs he plays as you travel. And there's a huge emphasis on character development and kind of character interaction and getting to know these characters. And as you get near the end, you kind of you feel quite close to them, and they do this with all their games. They've just got a real great narrative to them, and I think Pyres are just a very surprising but fantastic little game.
I totally think look, it's only July, but I wonder if there will be a game this unique anywhere. I mean, I don't want to sound like it's almost damning with faint praise, but I think that's something SuperGiant excel at. Like, they kind of make the unexpected. This is, I mean, the way I was trying to think of a way of describing it, and the only thing I could come up with, my point of reference was, it's as though Final Fantasy X's Blitzball was turned into a real sport, which was then turned into a game, which was then mixed with real-time strategy game and tower defense elements.
Yeah.
And that sounds kind of insane.
Yeah.
I was playing with. I sent you earlier off of this recording that I was playing with keyboard and mouse, and in the mode there, I was like clicking, and you click, and that's where your character moves to. And I thought, well, I'll try the controller, and then I suddenly realised you had direct control. I don't know. I mean, so overall, I mean, I don't want to dwell too long on this, because I think it's the kind of game that, yes, you're going to see a bit of it in action as Chris and I are talking, and you're going to get a sort of general overview. I think it is a review I very strongly urge people to go and actually read, because there's so much going on that you kind of, it's best to sit down and digest what has been said, rather than Chris and I rambling. But overall, Chris, your feelings on the game then, to sort of finish up here.
I really like it. I really like the style. I think the music's absolutely phenomenal. I think the rights are a really interesting idea that I've not seen. Kind of this, it is a kind of sports game in a sense, and you'll understand completely when you play it. But it just mashes together a load of different games that I love. As I said, the Banner Saga, it feels very much like that in the kind of the style of how the story's being told. But if you love SuperGiant, you know, if you're a fan of Bastion and Transistor, there's no way you can't, because it's them. They've just nailed it.
Cool. And if you're really still not sure, I would say go read Chris's review for like the more in-depth way of looking at the game, and of course hopefully you've seen the game in action in this video. And if you do like what we've said and what you've seen, and go and have a look at GodIsAGeek.com, and if you like what you read there, then maybe make sure you click that subscribe button. But also we're funded by Patreon, patreon.com/GodIsAGeek, and for $1 or £1 or wherever you're from, a very low amount essentially, You get early features, you get exclusive videos, exclusive features themselves, written ones, and all sorts of stuff that we think is pretty good value. You get the podcast early. We're looking to try and get back to giving you an extended podcast. And of course, you've got Geek of Thrones, our Game of Thrones episode sort of review podcast. You'll get that early as well. Chris, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.